This team is starting to gel. They're starting to come around. Kuminga is coming around. No turnovers, 1 turnover, no fouls last night. TJD, player of the game, according to Steve Kerr. The Splash Brothers. They're back, baby. They're back. Klay Thompson, 888-957-9570. How are we feeling about Klay? How are we feeling about Steph? How are we feeling about the Warriors after they won 3 straight games, 6 in a row at home, and now they get the Wizards and Blazers? By the way, Anthony Slater just texted me. His Jordan Poole story is going up tomorrow. He talked to Jordan Poole of Sacramento, so I can't wait to read that. And I'm glad Slater said what he said. Jordan Poole deserves love. He's a key cog of that championship run. Some people misremember what happened during that championship run. Well, I don't. And I remember Jordan Poole having a nice, solid postseason, averaging 17 points a game over the course of that postseason run. But Lubman, what a win. Welcome to the show.
Woo, buddy, that was a good win last night. No, that was one of those wins that, like, for as much as things have been struggling for the Warriors the last few weeks. Again, we were talking how last week it was all about Draymond Green, all about him getting suspended indefinitely. We spent an entire show, roasters, call in. What's your one word for the Draymond situation? And it was a thesaurus of words that basically just translate to bad. There was toxic, there was despondent, there was exasperated. Like, we had some really good calls of people just fed up. And it just felt like a massive low for this franchise.
It did.
And then they have that loss to the Clippers. And Bonte, something about me, I hate losing to the Clippers.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Of all the professional sports teams, I hate. I mean, obviously, Dodgers are way up there because everyone should hate the Dodgers. Clippers are right up there, too. And so I never like losing to the Clippers. And then they, quietly, 3 in a row in the first 2 games against the Nets and Blazers. Okay, you know what? You should win those games. You know, the Nets, you're at home. Like, you're a better team than the Nets. I know, Warrior killer Lonnie Walker's there, but you know what?
The Nets, to your point, though, the Nets are top 7, top 10 in three-point shooting, three-point percentage, top 5 in scoring. Like, the Nets are a really good offensive team, and they're the type of team that gives the Warriors problems with the length, the athleticism, but to your point, the Nets is a team you should be able to beat at home, but shorthanded, you just never know.
You do never know, and they showed some guts there. Again, they almost blew it. They got together, though. They pulled that win out. That's a little bit of growth there. But last night, that was a different level. Like, this is the Celtics, the top team in the East right now, top team in the NBA right now. Well, not anymore, actually. Minnesota, by a half game, has the best record in the NBA right now. But that was a big boy win by the Warriors last night, and it was made in part because, again, the Splash Brothers were in vintage form last night, but you're talking player of the games. You gave it to Trace Jackson Davis. My player of the game, I got to give it to Jonathan Kuminga. Again, dropping those 17 points last night. No fouls, only 1 turnover.
Yep.
What have we always been saying? What do we want to see from JK? Stop fouling. Stop turning the ball over. He didn't do either one of those last night. All what he did do was drop some hammer down dunks, and then he's firing up the crowd. Usually it's the big guys on the team firing up the crowd. But there's Jonathan Kuminga, been in the league for 2.5 years, barely old enough to drink, out there waving his arms, getting the crowd fired up, and the crowd's responding. These fans, the Warriors fans, they want to see that from Jonathan Kuminga. This is the number 7 pick in the draft. They want him to be part of that next great core. And Bonte, if we're talking about how, how do you transition from the last era into the next era? Last night, I'm not saying that last night was the transition, because the transition happens over a long period of time.
No doubt.
Last night was part of the step that goes from the last great era of Warriors basketball into the next great era of Warriors basketball. You want to be like the Spurs? Well, you know what? Jonathan Kuminga, Trace Jackson Davis, Brandon Podziemski, Moses Moody, the 4 of you guys, the baby dubs as I like to call them, that's how you turn into a Spurs-like run.
No doubt. Integrating the youth into the veterans here, to the veteran core, the championship core. We've been waiting on this with Kuminga. And Stephen Curry mentioned it. You talk about JK firing up the crowd. That 15-2 second quarter run, Celtics were rolling. 52-41. Crowd's like, dang, Celtics are really good. Best team in the NBA. They won 5 straight. JK, Klay. At one stretch during that second quarter, the Warriors made 6 straight field goals, and they were all threes. And Saric had something to do with that. But JK firing up the crowd after a big play, you just love to see it. Steph Curry loved to see it as well.
Like, Trace's 2 blocks he had, especially the one in the fourth, I think it was, or maybe overtime, I can't remember, one on Jalen. Like, you feel the crowd get into it, and that just gets, everybody hyped up. And then JK steal the first minute of the overtime. I'm feeding off of the crowd's energy, and those 2 guys created that, with some spectacular individual plays. So, like I said, everybody who's out there for significant minutes contributed in some way, shape, or form, and it was a gutsy win, to say the least, just because, it looked a little different with Trace and JK impacting the game the way they did. Me, CP, Clay, in that final group. It was fun.
It did look different, but it was fun, according to Steph Curry. I totally agree with him. Let's get to the lines, Lubman. Let's get to Ray in Oakland. Then we'll get to Alex in Atlanta. We got full lines here, 888-957-9570. I see YouTube humming, Twitch humming. They're carrying the show today. We needed you, Roasters. I got 4 hours of sleep. I couldn't sleep last night because of this win. This was one of those sweet victories, maybe the sweetest victory since Game 6 of the NBA Finals. It might be there.
Really
it might be right there.
We've had one of those kind of wins.
Well, because last year was wacky.
It really
with
was,
the way it started. It was just they could never gain any traction.
And it seemed like every time you did get a win like this last year, they'd find a way to erase that momentum next night.
I guess Game 7, Sacramento.
That was actually a pretty good one too. Yeah.
Game 3, Game 4, when Harrison Barnes missed a game-winning 3 for the Sacramento Kings.
All-time game right there. As soon as that ball goes up, yeah, we won this game.
Yeah,
didn't even need to hit the rim. I knew it was going to happen.
Well, no, I hit the rim, and I was like, oh, gosh. Ray in Oakland, what's happening, man? Good morning to you.
Good morning. Happy holidays. Morning, Roast. Love what y'all do. But can we stop with all the trade talk? We got everything we need to contend. All we need to do, insert TJD into the starting lineup and use Looney and Wiggins as insurance policies for Dre and JK. Let's not forget Draymond Green in the Western Conference Finals versus Joker. All right, we're going to need Draymond in the playoffs, Dub Nation. I'm sorry. We're going to need him. But I do pitch bringing him off the bench with CP, Moody, and GP2. That second unit, and then, we insert him early into the first quarter for TJD. That first and second unit, we got the size, the athleticism, the youth. We got what we need, Dub Nation.
Ray, hold on, Ray. So you're saying to me right now, you're telling me and Lubman that the Warriors don't need to make any moves. They got what they need to get to the promised land. Is that what you're saying right now this morning?
Yes, all Kerr needs to do is insert TJD into the starting lineup and use Looney and Wiggins as insurance policies for whenever Dre goes off the rails or whenever JK gets in foul trouble. We got everything we need.
All right. There's a believer in the roster currently constructed. Maybe Dunleavy feels like her, but Dunleavy's giving us another 12 to 15 games to see what's what, to see how this squad responds. Now, how will Andrew Wiggins respond and Kevon Looney respond by being, quote-unquote, insurance policies? Got to manage egos, right? Wiggins has an ego. You got to think about Andrew Wiggins. This is the first time in his career, outside of Game 1 of the NBA playoffs against Sacramento in the first round, first time in his career that he's come off the bench. And I'm not sure how well he's responded to it. Now, the first 3 games, very, very good. Took a step back yesterday. Now, I think he deserves a pass because he was sick and he was questionable. But, boy, Ray in Oakland's loyal. How loyal are you, fans? Do you think the Warriors need to tinker with this roster? Right now, I'm not even thinking about that, Lubman.
No,
I'm soaking in last night.
Absolutely. No, I think last night's one of those games, we don't need to be talking any trades right now. I do think, Andrew Wiggins, that is going to be the big X factor probably over these next 10 games in terms of what they do with him. As far as other moves they would make, first off, I do like Ray's idea of kind of what that second unit would look like. That is a deep second unit. If all things being equal, if everybody stays healthy, CP3 in there, GP2, Draymond, Looney, Wiggins,
Moses Moody.
Moses Moody was in that second lot unit too. That is the kind of second unit that, I remember back when KD was here, we talked about, or even just before KD was here, we were talking, is the Warriors' second unit good enough to get the 8th seed? Mm-hmm. I don't know if we're at that level yet if we go to that kind of a second unit, but that's the kind of second unit that's the kind of second unit that could help you win lots and lots of games, especially if your first unit's struggling. If Trace Jackson-Davis, he could almost act as a trade acquisition in a sense, Bonte, if he could take that first big step in his development. That just seems like a lot to ask, though, for a rookie, though.
No, but you know what? This rookie's no ordinary rookie. He played 4 years of college under Mike Woodson at Indiana. He's seasoned, all right? You heard Anthony Slater. He's more of a finished product. His instincts. He knows how to play the game. The way he rolls to the basket, gets his big butt in there and just moves the people to the side and finishes at the rim and then the block shots. That's a great point, Lubman. I didn't think about it like that. Maybe you do have your trade at TJD because he wasn't playing. And then you get the bench who's outscored the opposing bench in 23 to 27 games. And last night was no different, 50 to 27. So it really doesn't matter who's coming off the bench right now because they're producing. And they help get the Warriors back into that game after a rough first quarter. So maybe you're onto something there. Here's Steve Kerr on TJD being the player of the game.
He was tremendous. He was the player of the game. There were several huge plays. Obviously, Steph's shot probably being number one, but Trae Trace's block on Jaylen Brown. But Trace was the guy who shifted everything, plus 25 in his minutes. Second great game in a row. You can see the impact he makes. So he's going to play. He's going to be in the lineup.
Here's Klay Thompson on what TJD brings to the lineup.
A vertical spacer, a shot blocking presence, and a big, strong, physical big man who is incredibly athletic. Trace Jr., very athletic.
Trace Jr., what's up with this new nickname?
That is his new nickname, correct. It's only know one Trace in my life. That's Trace Thompson, MLB player, father to Roman.
Klay Thompson bringing out the funnies, and he's red hot right now, Loveman. Let's get back out to the lines and get our Night of Numbers, the official statistician of the Morning Roast. It's Alex in Atlanta.
Big Alex in Atlanta guy.
Alex in Atlanta, what's happening, man? Good morning. Thank you so much for waiting on hold patiently.
Well, gentlemen, first off, let's start with that final shot from Steph Curry last night. That ball looked so good in the air that even gravity had to pause for a second to admire it. So let's start there. Great shot from Steph to close out the game. But look, talking about Klay Thompson, I agree with everything that you and Anthony Slater were saying earlier, that, you know, over these last 4 games, Klay is averaging 26.5 points a game. I think his shot discernment has been a lot better. I think his willingness to pass up the ball and be a playmaker has been a lot better. And I think the spacing on the floor has been a lot better, in part because you have athletic guys on the floor with him, like Jonathan Kuminga and like Brandon Pajinski, who are willing to attack the basket and create that open space for Klay. One of the things I wanted to touch on, 5th straight game for the Warriors now where they've had 15 or fewer turnovers. They're above 500 this year when they don't turn the ball over 15 or more times. They were 26 and 15 last season when they turned the ball over 15 or fewer times. So that's something that's seen a lot of improvement since the young guys have started to get consistent playing time. Touching on Trayce Jackson-Davis, I would like to see him get 20 minutes a night, obviously, because I think he does give the Warriors that element of rim protection that they've been sorely lacking. And especially in this game coming up against Washington, we know that Jordan Poole likes to attack the basket. And we know that last season he developed a bit of a bad habit of attacking the basket too much to the point where he was getting his shot blocked a lot. Insert TJD into the starting lineup, if only for the Washington game, just to see how much that can help slow down Jordan Poole and the Wizards offense. And the last thing, I want to give credit where credit is due to Steve Kerr, because I've been on him about this all year. I think his rotations, trusting the young guys in these recent games, have gotten a lot better. You can argue that maybe his hand's been forced by the fact that Wiggins hasn't been playing well, by the fact that Draymond's been suspended, but he's made the necessary adjustments. He's willing to ride with the guys who are playing best on a given night to close out games and give them the majority of the minutes. So I have to give kudos to Steve Kerr where credit's due. And look, if you win these next 2 games, you match your longest win streak from last year, and you're back above 500 before Christmas.
Wow,
so
how about
great
that?
win for the Dubs last night.
Great call, Alex. Great call as always.
Another great call from the Night of Numbers. Always love hearing from him because Alex always brings it. It's one of our callers, one of our top roasters of the year.
The